What's going on, YouTube? It's Dave's Daily Trades, back again with an update for AMC. So we are just about to close the trading day today, and we were down just about 3%. But there are some really great things that I want to be discussing, which are more of a technical outlook for what happened today and where I believe we are headed in the next couple of days to end the week, but more specifically looking at the days in the weeks to come. We're also going to be taking a look at dark pool data, which is some really fascinating stuff. And to end the video, guys, we're going to be looking at unusual whales and the interesting option flow that's been going on. But without further ado, let's roll right into that intro and hop into the technical analysis. And we're back. All right, folks, what I have on the screen right now is actually a Wyckoff accumulation schematic that is playing out on the micro scale time frame. So right now I am looking at the 1 hour chart, but let's go over everything so my chart doesn't look like a complete nightmare. I promise you it's much simpler than you can imagine. So as you guys know, we have been discussing this schematic playing out in the larger scale schematic, so for the past 6 months since that June run-up, but also on a micro level time frame to really predict more of those daily moves and how things are going to look. And of course, on a larger time scale, look at where we're headed in the grand scheme of things. So anyways, guys, what we have playing out on this 1 hour is exactly, you guessed it, the Wyckoff accumulation schematic. So what you have up here, this is your PS. And the PS is just a quick stop in that sell-off. So where you do kind of wick down, you consolidate for a little bit. And what this does is it actually establishes the higher end of your trading region. So that's what we have here at just about $33, $34. Now, after this, you have your SC. SC stands for selling climax. That is really a stop in all of this selling pressure, which is then followed by your automatic reaction. And guys, I know what you're thinking. Whoops, didn't want to do that. We're jumping here. Your AR should come to this top range of your schematic, but it doesn't necessarily have to always work like that. So our automatic reaction was actually a little lower. Also, this SC, the selling climax, and your sell test in phase B did establish your first shoulder pattern. Now, of course, we have been talking about that head and shoulders, your head here, shoulder here, and your last shoulder playing out over here. But after your sell test in phase B, you do make a run to the top of the channel. That goes hand in hand with exactly what we were expected. Bang, you come up into this top of your channel. Well, after that, per the Wyckoff schematic, you do kind of sell down into your spring or terminal shakeout. And in this scenario, we did get more of a terminal shakeout. Why is this a terminal shakeout? Well, it all is in the volume. You see this giant wick in volume here, which absolutely shows that buyers went in, bought this dip, and that's why we had this next kind of run here. Now, we did over here have a brief test of our lower trading range, first established by your sell test in phase B. Jumping back to it, we can see that your test absolutely coordinates with that sell test in phase B. And look at this. We do hop a little lower, which is totally fine, but it was followed. Remember that Friday when we had like 144 in volume, 144 million in volume rather? Well, that was it right there, your first test. Now, what's been happening the past couple of days is what I believe is your test 2. Now, test 2 over here is just a test of the earlier established selling climax. Looking back here, and sorry for those who know this like the back of their hand, I'm more trying to educate everyone on the Wyckoff schematic, what it looks like, and why it's actually important. But then you have your second test over here. Test number 2, where you do test that earlier established region of your selling climax. Now, the fact that we did wick down and what we've been seeing over the past couple of days is, as we know from yesterday, a complete rerun of the algo that happened on Thursday. But nonetheless, guys, we are making moves. The past couple of days, we have had higher lows, which is really great to see. And really what's happening here is this last consolidation. But what comes after that second test per the schematic? Well, you do enter into phase D. Phase D followed by LPS, followed by your sign of strength up here before moving on to phase E. So what would that look like? Well, of course, guys, nothing is going to be 100% to the T, specifically with a stock like AMC. But if this were to play out, we would have something along the lines of this. We come up, bang, we have our LPS somewhere over here, and then we move up. Sorry. We're actually going to redo that. So you come up here, get your LPS. LPS, I think, would be somewhere around here, which does coordinate with your AR, followed by a push into that 30 range, and then you LPS, and it doesn't have to play out like this before you go to the freaking moon. Now stop it. All right, there we go. But like I said, guys, it is going to play out a little bit differently. We don't have to necessarily have that LPS. We don't really have to have as much consolidation in that SOS phase. It really all depends on how volume's looking, what the composite man truly wants to see, if he's met those supply and demand really requirements before moving this stock all the way up back to all-time highs. So that is exactly what I see playing out over the next couple of days. But really, as we've been saying for weeks now, we need to see that volume increase. Today, we did again get low volume. A little good thing here, we had some good buying pressure in the morning. But to me, it literally looked like the complete opposite of the algos that we saw performing on Thursday of last week and then Monday as well. So maybe they just flipped the algorithm. Maybe they're just pushing this can down the road, trying to get this to play out longer so apes lose belief and ultimately sell. But we know that isn't going to happen. We know exactly how this is going to play out and where we're going to end. We may be wrong in the short term, but guys, the long-term outlook will never change for me. So I do want to hop over and really just look at that pre-January run, which is here on the left-hand side, to where we currently stand with AMC. So obviously, yes, there are some noticeable similarities between these two graphs, but it's going to be slightly different. Now, where I do believe we are is somewhere in this phase right here. Really from, I don't know if you want to put a date on it, so we're not even going to say, but nonetheless, guys, yes, this looks identical because you do have that spring action here, right here, coordinates right here. And really the big things I'm looking at is the volume. So this volume spike right here does coordinate with the big volume that we had on that Friday when we had like 144 million in volume. Absolutely looks identical. And then you do have these push up, push down, push up, push down, all the way to your top. And that's how we get our, here we'll actually draw it right now, but we get your Fibonacci retracement. And really what I've personally been looking at, and this is actually pretty damn close. So where you do kind of start that consolidation over here is right around that 50 percentile retracement. And that's where you get these two kind of wicks down. I called them D1 and D2 yesterday. But look at D1, D2. That does coordinate with your test too, which is back into the micro scale accumulation schematic, which is great. But now what we're actually seeing play out in real time is this upward trend here. We have this upward trend here where you kind of just bounce around all the time until you finally break out of that channel. But the biggest thing, guys, like I said before, is the freaking volume. So, interesting enough, let's actually zoom in so we can see that volume nicely. Once you do get that volume increase, it decreases right away. But look, You do have that volume kind of decrease, and then you do get a decent amount of selling pressure right around your D2 and D1 phase. And that is very consistent here. So that's why I do believe we are around this time frame. Dates don't matter because, as we know, they can speed up or slow down this entire algorithm. So don't put dates on it, guys. Let it take its course and let it play out, because the more consolidation and, I guess, suppression we have in this price, the higher I do believe this is going to go, with a lot of reasons. But that's actually more information that I want to talk about today. That's going to probably be in a future video. So anyways, what we see come in is on your D3, you start to see this volume increase, but it is to the downside. What are we getting today? We kind of got almost like a U shape here in the volume, which we really haven't been seeing. Where typically you do have volume spikes in the morning and then volume just declines throughout the day. But what we get today is actually lower volume, but you do have this U shape where it starts to pick up in the afternoon, which was very interesting to see. So I personally think we're at a very good spot here with AMC. And I do believe this part of the algo will be playing out. I would hope to see it by end of week, but I wouldn't be surprised if this portion where we're sitting right now gets slowed down. So we do finish under max pain, which I believe is like 29 or 30. So we're kind of right at that zone right now. And then this plays out the following week. Also, guys, you have to take in consideration it's the week before the new year. I work professionally, and I can tell you a lot of people are taking the week off. So we may not see that volume come in until early next week. But guys, it is what it is. Now, just a last look at this before we kind of decrease and move on to our next segment here. This last test in 2, trading on this trend line, I do believe we are going to get the early signs of phase D playing out this week. So we'll wait. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if that volume comes. But of course, guys, I'll be back every single day for the rest of the week, updating you guys on how this looks. Now, let's actually jump right into unusual whales and give a quick look. And also, shout out to the average ape. This man comes out with dark pool updates just about every day, and it is spot on. And today specifically, he did tag me in, where am I? This post right here. And what he was saying was in the IWM, which is an ETF that holds AMC, 72% of the volume today was short, but they were still green on the day. So obviously we know why the volume is really just dried out. It's because they're sending all these orders right to the dark pool. Simple as that. But I do absolutely give this man a follow because he puts in the time and the work and gives daily updates on what the dark pool looks like, which of course can always help. But back to unusual whales. If my computer wants to load, we're going to refresh there. So, not a lot of activity on the options chain today. Of course, we do have this filter set to premiums over $100,000. So, maybe more kind of low-end orders were coming in, but that really doesn't affect us that much. I really am focused on that large whale orders that are coming in, and that's really kind of all I care about with unusual whales. But anyways, what we saw today was kind of mixed, just about 50-50 on the bullish and bearish side. Really the biggest expiration that's being targeted, or the only 2 expirations being targeted, are the 12/31/21 and the 6/17/22 expiration. Now, if we dive into this one step further, we can actually see today's levels. So what do we get? I love the text, by the way. Unusual Whales just updated this. Shout out to them. They're always coming out with updates. Absolutely love this site. But nonetheless, guys, 64% were calls, 36 were puts. Looks like a lot of activity specifically today around that 3/18/22 expiration. Definitely something to note. Also, if we look at the strike prices, we do have 30, and whoa, look at this. A lot of activity around this $44 strike. Really interesting stuff going on in the options chain. But nonetheless, guys, I think we're really sitting at a great spot for AMC right now. Don't worry about what's going on. I know this is incredibly boring. I know the entire community is incredibly bullish on just about every single day. But at the end of the day, this is going to take time to play out. Now, no one can for sure say that, oh, we're squeezing on X date, or we're going to have a massive 20% run today. You can look at old historical data, but you can never get the time frame down 100%. So sit back, enjoy some specifically AMC popcorn, and watch this all play out. Really treat this as a learning opportunity and just really put yourself out there to learn from others. And if you're smart enough, absolutely try to teach others. But nonetheless, guys, my thesis and bullish thesis on AMC remains the same as always. Days like today don't change a single thing. But with that said, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful night, and be sure to tune in for tomorrow's video. Peace out.